Hello, this is Goku Photo 71, and I'm back this time to talk about an interesting topic, something that I've been meaning to talk about, but I haven't. And with John Campia's recent video about the trailer for Lilo and Stitch, and him stating that Lilo and Stitch isn't going to be a high box office, it's just going to get all the box office. It's going to be the highest grossing film of the year. But he failed to mention a little tiny indie film could actually take that title. We'll get to that in a minute. So, when we're talking about box office, we're talking about a lot of different factors that go in. Most films, their opening weekend is just by far their biggest. And then if you're a big film, if you make probably over 100 million, your second weekend is going to be a drop between 50 and 70. If you make like 200, 300, that 70 drop is not a big deal because you've already made all that money in that first week. That's to be expected. That is what's going to happen with Lilo and Stitch. It's going to have a really big first weekend, and it's going to have a drop-off. Probably 50 to 60%. Probably not 70, I'm not thinking it. But it's probably going to have a fairly big drop-off. But there are films that do not have big drop-offs. But they also tend to not have big openings. The film that I'm going to talk about in a minute may, in fact, have the biggest opening in history and may still have a slightly smaller drop than normal. But I'll get to that in a minute. I just want to get into kind of the idea of what we're talking about. What will Lilo and Stitch make? What is my prediction of Lilo and Stitch? I think it's safely going to be somewhere in between $1 billion to $1.5 billion. I'm aiming in the middle, probably $1 billion to $1.3 billion. It's going to be in that neighborhood. 1.2, 1.3 is where I think it's going to land. So the reason I wanted to bring up this topic, the reason I'm fascinated by this topic, and the reason why I'm 2 minutes in a video and I haven't even mentioned what the topic is actually about, because I'm about to go completely into a different territory in a minute, is because there's a lot of people have been talking about what are going to be the billion-dollar movies of the year. Lilo and Stitch will almost certainly be a billion-dollar movie. The live action, if you don't know what I'm referring to. Live action Lilo and Stitch, which the trailer looks really good. I have not seen Lilo and Stitch, but I'm going to watch it very soon, so I'll have an opinion soon. If you want me to do a review, leave an opinion below. It's a very old movie, relatively. So if anybody is interested in my opinion on an old movie, I may make a quick video on my thoughts. I'm guessing I'm going to love it. But with all of that said, with everything that I have said, people have been talking about the idea of which films are going to be in the billion-dollar club. And there's one film that I don't think we should be talking about it in regards to the billion-dollar club. Why? Because it's guaranteed to be in the $2 billion club. And I'm talking about this tiny little indie film you may not have heard of, Avatar, Fire and Ash. Yes, that is going to be the highest grossing film of the year. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you feel about the movie. It is going to be the highest grossing film of the year. It has potential to not only have the highest opening weekend of all time, it has the potential to be the highest grossing film of all time. It has the potential to be a $3 billion movie. I think this could be the time we actually get it. I don't think it's likely, but I think both of those things are in the realm of discussion. We can discuss these. They're possible. We can't discuss these with Lilo and Stitch. They're not possible. Lilo and Stitch is not going to make $2 billion. It could. It's not impossible, but it's highly, highly unlikely. The area that's coming out, the window of opportunity, all of these things make it unlikely. Because I'm so far into this video and I'm so long, I will actually make a video of Avatar, Fire and Ash, more so talking about some of the complaints about the film. But this is the third film. The second film had the issue of a very long gap, over a 10-year gap. It also had the pandemic to deal with. These were issues going in. Also, the story wasn't what people wanted. People wanted this big, massive story. And in another video, I'll talk about why I don't think that's a big deal for the first film and why I think the second film works for what it's doing. But the third film, that's where your story is going to be. And I think when people start to see this, and this has nothing to do about opening weekend, because very few people are going to be convinced to go see a movie opening weekend if they're not already going to go see it. Everybody's going to go see it. I'm sorry to say this will be massive. If you don't like Avatar, you're one of the few. As in, enjoy watching them. This is going to be massive. And it's impressive that it makes so much money because of how long the movies are. It has to have that many more showings. But it also is in 3D. It's in Dolby. It's in IMAX. It's in everything. It's in Dolby 3D, which cost me about $21. So the tickets are expensive. But that's still such a long period of time. And all the highest grossing films of all time are long films, which is incredible that is a thing. But with all of these factors, this is going to be one of the highest grossing films of all time. I think this is going to beat Avatar 2's number of, I want to say 2.3. This will be at least 2.4, 2.5. This will probably make $1 billion more than Lilo and Stitch. Not that it's going to make, like, literally Lilo and Stitch's money, add $1 billion to it, and Avatar will still make a little bit more than that. And heck, Avatar could more than double Lilo and Stitch, triple Lilo and Stitch. If it makes $1 billion, Avatar could make $3 billion. Now, we're not going to know this for a while. But as I said, it is going to make all the money. I mean, there is a possibility, so infinitely unlikely, that it could theoretically it could combine like the next 5 films, 6 films together. Like, it is going to be huge. But what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think is going to be the highest grossing film of this year? And could Avatar be the highest grossing film of all time? Avatar, Fire and Ash. Could it be number 1? Could number 1 be Fire and Ash and number 2 be Avatar? Could it? We will find out soon. Well, relatively soon. It's in December. But yeah, this was Goku for Someone. Please leave a comment below. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time. You too.